Okay. All right. Coaching mistakes. Deferring in the first quarter, or excuse me, deferring the coin toss in the second half, deferring the ball. Mistake. Second, no help. Like, here's the thing. A lot of times we say, you can't just abandon the run. You still got to, and I always say this, you got to be the best version of yourself and throw it in the Buccaneers' face and then see how they handle it. Well, they handled it really well. And then you didn't make an adjustment to anything until there was about 5 minutes left in the first half. That's a little too late. So already you were giving the ball to Tampa Bay. You were giving the ball to Tom Brady and say, you guys have at it. What's Tom Brady going to do with the first possession? That would be a good example. And that's where analytics kind of, you have a little bit of an issue when you go by the numbers a little too much here. And that would be a perfect example of with Tom Brady and giving him the ball first. Yeah, you should always take the ball first. Or excuse me, you should always defer to the second half. Except when you're facing a hot offense and it's the greatest quarterback to ever play. Maybe then don't let them set the tone. Maybe then don't allow them to set the pace. Maybe then take the ball first. Hopefully, if you, according to your game plan, get the ball first. You have a long drive running the football. Tom Brady's there sitting on the sideline for 6, 7, 8 minutes maybe. And then he's got to come in and try to rally everybody by the end of the first quarter and get things going by the end of the first half. Maybe that's how you would gain a little bit more of an advantage than giving him the ball first. So that's one thing I didn't like that Nick Sirianni did to start things off. The second was waiting too long to make adjustments. I'm not saying, oh, the run wasn't working. Get away from it. Run away from the run. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying find that balanced attack in the early goings of this game when you realize that they're stacking 8 men in the box. Don't get away from it like you did throughout the Dallas game in week 3, which I referenced yesterday on social media, where you only ran the ball with your running backs 3 times throughout the entire game. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying mix it up in the early goings. And they didn't really do that. And when they did do it, it was little throws to the flat. It was everything to the right or left of Jalen Hurts and nothing down the field. That's awful. That's god-awful. And that's the biggest indictment of Jalen Hurts in this game is that you looked at a defensive coordinator, a really good defensive coordinator, or excuse me, he looked at your offense rather and said, well, I know how to beat this team. I mean, when Erin Andrews said the report during the game that she talked to Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles at halftime as they were walking off the field, and they said, well, we weren't really worried about their run game. We could stop their run. So if we could just control that, we got this game. So in other words, make them throw with this quarterback, and they got it. Seems easy enough. Their game plan seemed to work. So that was Nick Sirianni talking about the moment not being too big. And look, no head coach is really going to go out there and be like, oh, yeah, these guys really shriveled in the moment. What am I going to do with these guys? No, but you know what? Because I think Nick Sirianni in the moment was a little too big for him as well. I think he overthought a lot of things going into this football game. So, yeah, I do think the moment got to these guys. I don't think any one of them would admit it. And quite frankly, I don't want him to admit it. I want him to feel like, no. I was ready to play. It felt good. It was just a matter of me not executing. Okay, let's prove that hopefully next year. The big thing was Jalen Hurts' performance. Nick Sirianni was asked about what his takeaways were from Jalen Hurts.
Obviously, I need to go back and watch the tape. Again, we weren't as crisp as we needed to be on offense. I thought there were some good zone read things that he did and read it pretty well. A couple of the early things that happened, like some of the early third downs weren't necessarily his fault of what happened. Again, I'll have to watch the tape through it. It's not going to come out as his best graded game, and it's not going to come out as a lot of our guys' best graded game. So I'll have to watch the tape to get further answers for you. But again, just not a crisp game, and that always starts with me as the head coach, and then another quarterback. We're always going to take responsibility for that.
Well, everyone loves that you take responsibility. That's great. When he watches the film, I think he's going to see a lot of missed opportunities from Jalen Hurts. And that's, as a guy that's been rooting for the guy and still thinks he's a starting quarterback next year. And then after that, that's really where you're going to decide whether or not he'll be the guy forever here in Philly for 10 years, whatever. But that was not his best foot forward yesterday. And I think he even admits to that. He acknowledged it. He took a lot of responsibility. We'll let you hear from him in a second. But overall, the two guys that I look at the most in this game for why they lost this football game was Nick Sirianni and not having a good game plan, failing to make adjustments, and then Jalen Hurts not being able to hit open targets and not scanning the field well in this game. And there are things that I know a lot of times you can look at it when you're really looking to explain why a quarterback. People did this all the time with Carson Wentz, and God, I hated it. I am the opposite of a quarterback coddler. Like, you're an NFL quarterback. You're supposed to be, like, you can never be part of the problem consistently. You can have a bad game, you can miss throws. But when a team is really struggling, you can't be part of the problem. Carson Wentz was part of the problem. Oh, no, Carson needs more receivers. He needs more time. He's got a bad offensive line. Yeah, but when he does have time, he's still terrible. Like, you can't consistently be part of the problem and looked at as a franchise quarterback. Jalen Hurts has had spurts this season where he has been part of the problem. I wouldn't say it was nearly as consistent as Carson Wentz was a year ago. And here's the other thing. I can take it from Jalen Hurts a lot more than I can take it from Carson Wentz last year. Because Carson Wentz was the franchise guy already. He had already been an MVP caliber player. He had been in the league for 4 years already. Jalen Hurts is a guy literally getting his first starts of his NFL career. I could take this performance from him as a 23-year-old, the youngest quarterback ever in the playoff history for the Eagles. I could take this from him thinking this is a good starting point. It's not a good point to be at 4 years down the road like we were just at with Carson Wentz. So that's why I can look at Jalen Hurts and go, yes, this was bad, but man, there's a lot of room for improvement here. And he's got the work ethic and the mindset to be able to do it. But being real about this game, it was awful. And I think when Nick Sirianni goes on, and I know a lot of people will do this, and this is what I was getting at. A lot of people did this with Carson Wentz. Oh, no, that's a dummy route. He's not coached to go to that spot. Yeah, but he is coached to scan the football field